Let us, for a moment, look into the mirror, not of glass, but of the world, and reflect upon that which we see in others. We are so often troubled, annoyed, even enraged by the actions and attitudes of people around us. We believe their behavior is something foreign, something that has no connection to us. And yet, in truth, these reactions hold a profound key to understanding our own inner nature. It is, in fact, the things that irritate us the most about others that can guide us to the deepest understanding of who we are. Imagine a small stone in a stream. It is smooth, rounded, and unassuming. Yet, when it disturbs the flow of water, it creates ripples. The disturbance is not the fault of the stone, but a consequence of its presence in the river's path. Similarly, the actions of others are not the source of our irritation. Rather, it is our own perception, our own inner landscape, that reacts. These reactions, whether they be anger, frustration, or disdain, are not simply responses to an external world. They are reflections of unresolved elements within ourselves. When we are irritated by someone, it is like staring at a ripple in the water that mirrors something about the stone beneath. The question then is not why is this person like this, but what does this reveal about my own inner turbulence? Consider this. We can look at the world in two ways. We can see it as something separate from us, a series of occurrences over which we have little control. Or we can view it as a reflection of the dance between our inner world and the outer world. Every interaction, every encounter with another person is a mirror reflecting something within us. The feeling of irritation is not an isolated experience, it is a signal. It is the mind's way of pointing to something unresolved, something that has yet to be understood or integrated within ourselves. There is a certain paradox at play here. We often find it easiest to hate the very things that we refuse to accept in ourselves. We look at someone's arrogance, their insensitivity, their self-righteousness, and we feel disgusted. And yet, if we dig deeper, we might find traces of the same arrogance, insensitivity, or self-righteousness within us. Perhaps not in the same form, not so overtly, but it is there, hiding in the shadows of our own consciousness. We are so quick to point fingers at others, but what we fail to see is that we are, in that very moment, pointing at ourselves. It is easy to see others as separate, as distant from our own experience. But in truth, there is no other. There is only a vast interconnectedness, where the world is a mirror of our internal state. When we look at the world with a judgmental eye, when we criticize, condemn, or belittle others, it is a reflection of our own discontent. If we feel disturbed by the pride of others, we might ask ourselves, where do we hold pride in our own lives? If we are angered by someone's impatience, where is our impatience hiding within us? The beauty of this is that the very things that disturb us are also the very things that hold the potential for our transformation. When we feel the urge to blame, to criticize, to hate, we are being invited to look deeper. For in the moment we choose to turn inward, in the moment we pause and ask ourselves, what is this revealing to me about myself? We step onto the path of self-discovery. Take, for example, the person who constantly interrupts you in conversation. This behavior might ignite in you a sense of frustration, even anger. You might find yourself wondering, why can't they let me finish a sentence? But in this moment, consider, what is it about being interrupted that stirs up such a powerful reaction? Perhaps it is the feeling of being unheard, of being invisible. Is this not something we have felt before? Is there not within us a deep desire to be acknowledged, to be seen? And so, the irritation with the interrupter becomes a mirror, showing us the parts of ourselves that long to be heard. When we are irritated, it is a signal to stop and ask, what does this reveal about my own vulnerabilities? The things that irritate us about others often point to unresolved wounds within ourselves. If we are annoyed by someone's selfishness, we might want to ask, do we too cling to a form of selfishness, even if it is more subtle? Perhaps it shows up in our constant need for validation, or in our refusal to share our time, energy, or love freely. The very things we despise are often the things we too harbor in quieter, hidden forms. This is the paradox of the human experience. We cannot truly know ourselves without encountering the world as it reflects back to us all that we have yet to understand. Our relationships, our encounters, are not random or inconsequential. They are part of a cosmic dance in which every step, every misstep, serves to reveal the parts of us that have been forgotten, neglected, or denied. Now, let us pause for a moment and reflect on the nature of this irritation. It is not simply a negative experience, it is an opportunity, a doorway leading to greater self-awareness. When we feel anger, jealousy, or frustration, these emotions are not enemies to be banished. Rather, they are allies, beckoning us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves. In fact, the greater our irritation, the more fertile the ground for self-discovery. To begin this journey, we must first recognize the power of acceptance. The world does not exist for our comfort. People do not behave according to our expectations. And yet, it is in accepting the world as it is, without resistance, that we find the peace we seek. It is not the world that needs to change. It is we who must change in order to truly see. When we begin to look at others with this understanding, when we begin to see the irritation as an opportunity for self-reflection, we start to shift our relationship with the world. Rather than seeing people as obstacles to our peace, we begin to see them as mirrors of our own inner landscapes. And in this seeing, we come to understand that everything we despise in others is, in fact, a reflection of something within us. But this is not a journey to blame ourselves, for to blame is still to resist. This is a journey of compassion, first toward ourselves and then toward others. To see that the same forces that drive others to act in ways we find irritating are the very same forces at play within us. And when we can accept that, when we can see the humanity in those who irritate us, we also begin to see the humanity within ourselves. In the end, we are all reflections of each other, mirrors held up to the collective soul. When we recognize this, we begin to see that the world is not something that happens to us, but something that unfolds with us. Every irritation, every frustration is an invitation to go deeper, to discover more about who we are and how we can grow. So the next time you feel irritation rise in your chest, instead of focusing on the person in front of you, turn inward. Ask yourself, what is this revealing about me? What part of myself am I not accepting? And in that question, you may find that what irritates you the most is not something foreign, but something deeply familiar, something you too carry within you. For we are not separate from each other. We are all part of the same vast interconnected web, and in understanding ourselves, we come to understand the world. We are what we hate, and in this understanding lies the possibility for deep and lasting peace.